Okay, welcome back to Sable's Grimoire. So I've decided, 'cause I don't know if there is another ending after this ending as far as Tix goes. I don't care too much, because I like Tix, but I don't like that she was my first playthrough ending. I feel like it would have been better to have either LaShaw or Draken as my first, because I like the story. I like it, I feel like it's a better third playthrough story. Like a side character you didn't like too much, but you were okay with. Because, I didn't even do anything with Tix besides just meet her. And so it's like I was doing a lot more with LaShaw. And so I figured I'd end up in LaShaw's route. So let's get through this. Depending on how long it takes, I might end the episode when we get to this ending. I just hope it doesn't take like 10 minutes and then it's already there. Because then I should have just done it with the last video. So we'll see what happens. My room currently proving to be a little too distracting. I decided to pay a visit to the library. The day is still young after all. I have been absolved of my teaching duties for the evening. So how better can I use this time than to study? I really have been focusing on Tix education too much lately. What about my goals? What about my interests in spell creation? While Tix is pushing me away and trying to solve her problem on her own, I'll use this time to finally return to normality. For the rest of the day, I will do nothing but study the things I want to study. Quickly glancing over my to-read list, I pick out 3 books on the subject which has piqued my interest in the past, namely Demi-Human Anatomy. Whenever I try to ask other students about this subject, they get creeped out or offended. If I want to learn about how the bodies of demi-humans work, research material like these are my best bet. Skimming through the index, I turn straight to a page on Mandarugids. Ever since I first met Eth, I've been quite curious about how they function. Are they plants? Are they animals? Are they warm-blooded? Do they even have hearts or blood to begin with? Do they give birth or sow seeds? Of course, everyone's loud the moment they start recording. Eth has been less than thrilled about my constant questions, so even now I still know very little about her kind. You've eluded me for long enough. Today I'll finally figure out what makes you tick. After I'm done with you, it will be, let's see. I'm gonna pause and wait for their yelling to stop. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear it, but I figure you could probably hear the whistling. They're whistling for my dog. Okay, let's see. I flip ahead a couple of pages and search for my topic. Harpies? Nah. Centaurs? Meh. Rokulalame. Lumia could be interesting. There's nothing in here on Gorgons, but I guess they're probably pretty similar. Alright. And then I flip through the book whimsically. Ooh, I stumble upon one section which is significantly longer than all the others. Filled with at least 3 times as much information as any sections on other wraith, I find a lengthy detailed write-up on pixies. Oh, for goodness sakes, now that I'm not looking for information about pixies, it shows up right in front of me. I guess it makes sense for a race which is all about breeding and which is in constant contact with humans to take up a fair amount of space in a book like this. Still, do I really want to read about that right now? Maybe later. Let's just skip that section for now. Keep turning pages, trying to reach the next section, but it seems like no matter how far I go, the content remains the same. So the erotic stories aren't enough for you anymore, huh? Now you're even studying their bodies on a clinical level. Drew, and you're reading through that section with such vigor. If you flip through it any quicker, you'll accidentally dispel your terminal. I turn around in a haste as I realize that Drew is standing right behind me. Oh, she's blushing. My terminal right now is a material related to pixies, specifically text explaining their reproductive process, along with a accompanying diagrams for an explicit nature. It's not what you think. I was just researching random demi-humans and their biology. I'm not particularly interested in pixies or anything. You deny only makes you sound even more guilty. If you are going to study these things with such fervor, please do so in your dorm room. Please, you got this all wrong. My interest is purely academic, I swear. Is that right? Drew leans in close to me, screeching my panicked expression as she attempts to discern the truth for herself. If that's the case, why are you so nervous? Because you've been misunderstanding since the moment you walked over here. Have I done anything to make you think that I'm looking at this stuff with ill intent? Well, no. It's true that you haven't done anything unbecoming. But even if that is the case, why are you reading such things in here? Are you avoiding your roommate again? Kind of, but not exactly. I'm just trying to avoid distractions in general. I was in my dorm room a minute ago, but I couldn't focus at all. In that case, I'll stop distracting you and get back to work. Let me know if you need anything. Unless you want more recommendations for books on pixies. That is, you can read those in your room. No, come on. It's like I said. With a complicated expression on her face, Drew leaves my side, and returns to her duties. Misunderstanding may have been cleared up, but apparently she still doesn't completely believe in my innocence. It seems like every time I approach the subject of pixies, I get myself into trouble. Real pixie books on pixies, every single thing to do with pixies leaves me feeling like I should just give up. Scowling at my terminal, I turn the page a few more times. To my surprise, the book does not continue to focus on the reproductive habits of pixies for long. Instead, it quickly shifts towards a much more mysterious topic. A pixie's metamorphosis. What? This is interesting, yeah. Highly elastic skin, hollow bones, usually soft, malleable muscles. Whoever wrote this section really did their research. I begin reading all about the absurd level of growth pixies are able to temporarily maintain. Contrary to my own thoughts on the matter, it seems that pixies aren't simply well trained in the art of muscle reinforcement. Rather, their bodies are naturally receptive to such spells. Pixies' biology allows them to grow and shrink at will without any of the negative side effects human beings suffer. For a human being to achieve the same kind of results, I wonder what extremes they would need to go to. I ponder my own question as I think about the limits of the human body, and why muscle reinforcement magic takes such a toll on us. Well, you gotta remember that we don't even use all of our strength normally. So if you were to just enhance it more, you'd be better off trying to use a spell to give you, a couple percent more. Because I know if you're a regular human, you use a certain amount, and then if you train, you can use a bit more. I'm pretty sure it's only like 30%, 35%, something like that. It's nowhere near 100%. After mulling over the question for a while, my eyes and mouth opened wide in surprise. This is it. This is what I've been looking for. If I put this theory into practice and create a spell based around these principles, then I skimmed through the page's contents once more, quickly assessing whether the ideas being presented to me are truly practical or not. Yeah, I can work with this. It's a bit unorthodox and probably hurt like hell, even if I do it successfully. But if I can pull this off, then I may have just stumbled across the solution Tix has been looking for. Is this now a solution for her clothes? By the time that I leave the library, midnight has already come and gone. I've spent my entire evening planning out a particular spell without paying any attention at all to the flow of time. For all my efforts, I now have what I presume to be more or less a functional spell. I'd like to have Tix take a look over my work before I try it out, not only for her own education, but also because she's far more adept at muscle reinforcement magic than I am. She's probably asleep by now though, so I might not get the chance until after classes are over today. Yawning, I oh my god, myself and placed my hand on the doorknob. Oh, dog barking. He barks again. I'll pause for a second. I try to be quiet as I open and shut the door. out of consideration for both my sleeping neighbors and my roommate. The moment I enter the room, however, I realize that my efforts are partially wasted. Tix, you're still up? Oh, Sable, you're here. Wait, Sable's here. Oh, it took you long enough. Just a second. Tix jumps off my bed and rushes over to the kitchen sink. She splashes water on her face and shakes her head vigorously in an attempt to wake herself up. Now slightly wobbly on her feet, Tix dries herself off and presents herself to me once again. Oh, good evening, young man. I didn't see you there. Oh, God. You seem to have caught me at a bad time. As you can see, I am both naked and tired to put up a fight. If someone were to take advantage of me right now, I wouldn't be able to defend myself at all. Tix, are you still half asleep? If you're that tired, just go to bed. I'll be quiet. There's no need to be considerate of me. You should do whatever you want. I'll just stand here, doing naked stretches, completely letting my guard down. Boy, I sure do hope that nobody watches me. That'd be super embarrassing. If they did, I wouldn't be able to blame them for any perverted actions they took. Okay then. You go do your stretches. Where's my dog barking? I'm going to jot a few things down before I go to sleep. Turning a blind eye to Tix's odd behavior, I sit down at my desk and pick up where I left off in the library. I'm feeling a bit sore after sitting at that desk all day and night, but I do think that I should finish writing down my thoughts before I... Hey, what the hell are you doing? I jump in fright as Tix suddenly yells at me from behind. Slowly I turn around. Writing down ideas? You're supposed to be watching me. I am? Since when? You just said you hoped that nobody would watch you. Well, for the love of... No, this is all my fault. I knew a frontal assault was a way to go. Fine, then just remember, Sable. I'm only doing this because you're such an idiot. Doing what? Before I can mull over her words, Tix flaps her wings and floats over my chair onto my lap. So, okay. If I do this ending, it'll end quickly. I don't really like this ending. We're only 12 minutes into the video. So we'll see how instant this ending ends, and then we'll come back to this spot to do the under ending, probably. Before I can mull over her words, Tix flaps her wings and floats over my chair onto my lap. Rather than face my desk, however, she instead sits with her back to the wall, resulting in the two of us staring at one another in the face. Tix, what are you doing? Thought you were going to be stretching. Shut up, Sable. Uttering only those cross words in response, Tix presses her body against mine firmly. Still smirking, Tix draws her redness face closer, leaving little room between us. I waited up for you, you know. I thought that if I showed you a sight like that, then even you would lose control. Was I right? Is your dismal libido surging? Aren't you just dying to lay your hands on me? No, not really. I don't know what your end game is here, but I see you naked almost every day, and you aren't exactly shy when it comes to making physical contact. I was flustered at first, but by this point I'm pretty much used to it. Still trying to act disinterested, huh? We'll see how long that lasts. How do you like this, Mr. Virgin? Tix hugs me tighter, resting her head on my shoulders as she rubs her body against mine. Even though my clothes, I can easily make out the shape of her body. Tix's softness is transmitted to me clearly, and in a heartbeat it dawns on me. These are not the playful attractions of a nudist, boundary-challenged roommate. This is the seduction of a pixie intent on bearing children. Tix, please control yourself. I already told you I have no intention of fathering your children. Oh, it sounds like you finally caught on. I guess even beta males like you can't hide from reality forever. What, really? What reality? What are you even trying to do here, Tix? I thought you were going to put off having children so you could keep studying. That was the plan, but now I've decided to take a different approach. Brimming with confidence, Tix looks me in the eye. She explains further. After giving the matter some thought, I realized that the solution to my problem was staring at me in the face all along. All my mother wants is for me to have children. She doesn't care if I study or not. So if I'm pregnant, she'll leave me alone. You're going to get yourself pregnant in order to avoid being pushed into having kids? What kind of ridiculous logic is that? Besides, she was going to leave you alone anyway, at least until the end of the semester. All you're doing now is trying to push your own deadline up. Tix shakes her head from side to side. You're missing the point here, Sable. Pixies have a much shorter gestation period than human beings. If I become pregnant now, I'll give birth long before the end of semester. If I give birth here, I'll be able to stay and raise my children here while continuing my studies. Genius, right? That's the solution you came up with? I know I agreed to let you handle this yourself, but that's not genius, it's unbelievably stupid. How so? I get to stay, I can keep studying, and I can start raising children. My mother will get off my back too, and your little hung up about being an absent father who never sees his kid will be mute. My plan is perfect in every way. Like hell it is. You think a dorm room is any place to raise kids? And how will you juggle both studying and parenting? Oh, and before any of that, I don't want to have kids. Say what you want, I'm still going through with it. You are going to fall for my seductions, Sable. If you don't, I'll be forced to take matters into my own hands. Wary of those ominous words, I try to calm down, clear my mind. Oop, clicked off. Boop, okay, clear my mind. The sensation of Tic's soft, naked body pressing against mine is hard to ignore. For all the pride I take in my considerable self-control, I'm ultimately a young man after all. I'm actually scared. And it's like someone walks in here as I say naked body, and it's like, what are you playing? What are you doing? It's like, what are you looking at? But if I show any kind of reaction now, Tix won't miss it. She'll take the opportunity to escalate the situation, and my youth will be over. It's just like her mother warned me. Tix really is trying to make a move on me. Is she in heat? Has all this talk about having kids stirred up her maternal instincts? No, wait, forget about the reason why. If Tix's mother was right about this much, then we have a different problem on our hands. The words of Tix's mother surface in my mind. She claimed that Tix would fall victim to our biology, make a move on me, get pregnant, lose all interest in staying, and then return home. If she is correct, then Tix's plan isn't a logical one. Her ability to think rationally is being hindered by her instincts, and her plan is actually just an excuse for her to do what her body is telling her to do. In other words, Tix already knows that her plan will fail. She's just caving in to her desires to reproduce. What's wrong, Sable? You've lost your composure. Am I getting to you after all? Am I? A playful smirk appears on Tix's face. She traces circles on my chest with her index finger, while staring into my eyes, chuckling from both nervousness and amusement. It's an odd sight. Her own demeanor and words make it seem more like a joke than a legitimate attempt. And yet, for some reason, beyond my understanding, I find myself strongly drawn to this behavior of hers. This isn't good. Something is wrong with my body. Why am I reacting to her words? I know that I can't afford to go along with this, and yet you don't need to hold back. Forget about your stupid studies and focus solely on me. Pay attention, Sable. This is going to be your best night of your life. I gulp audibly as I unintentionally catch a whiff of Tix's scent. With her body so close to mine, it's impossible for me to ignore Tix, her smell, her touch, the soft breaths escaping from her lips. Get a hold of yourself, Sable. You can't lose to this pixie. It's just, alright, pheromones. That's what's going on. Pixies are all about breeding, I'm sure. Tix is unconsciously releasing pheromones into the air in order to cloud my mind. Convincing myself thusly, I wave my hand in front of my face and try to disperse the pheromones being secreted by Tix's body. But with virtually no distance between us, my actions prove to be pointless. Tix is only an inch away and I can't escape her that easily. I have only one shot at escaping from forced parenthood, and that is, I'll do it. I'll father your children, but only if my plan fails. Both surprised and intrigued by my words, Tix releases her grip on my body. She creates a small amount of distance between us and looks at me quizzically. Your plan? That's right. I know I said I'd leave this all to you, but now that it's come to this, I have no choice. I come up with a plan of my own, and I want you to go along with it. Plan of your own, huh? And if it fails, you're gonna go along with my plan instead? Hastily I nod. This might be the pheromones talking, but yes, if my plan fails, I'll take part in yours. So either way, I get what I want. Alright then, what's this plan of yours? The strange, intense intensity being executed from Tix disappears in an instant. Finally able to breathe easy, I sigh and begin my explanation. With Tix and I having come to an agreement, a new plan is set in motion. Concluding, with my tutoring of Tix, I have her return the favor by teaching me everything she knows about muscle reinforcement magic. As planned, our specialities naturally begin to intertwine. My knack for spell creation and Tix's expertise in manipulating her own body are combined, resulting in the creation of a new spell. With this, everything is set. We are all ready to face Tix's mother and to show her that Tix's time at the academy hasn't been a waste after all. Without breathing a word of this to her mother, the two of us wait until the end of our first term. We take advantage of the 2-week break in order to set out, charting our course for Tix's village. We won't be waiting until the end of semester. Instead, we're going to pay Tix's mother a surprise visit, according to our own timetable. If all goes to plan, Tix will soon return to the academy with a greater degree of freedom and control than she has ever enjoyed in her entire life. As our first break of the year begins, Tix and I make our way to our village without delay. We trek through the forest surrounding the academy, camping under the stars as our supposedly short journey extends beyond the time frame Tix proposed to me. I was told this would be a 3-day round trip. Instead, it's already taken us that long just to approach the vicinity of her village. Yet, to spy even a single other pixie, I speak up one more time. Are you sure we're going the right way, Tix? For the last time, yes, I'm sure. We'd be there already if you didn't keep dragging your feet. If you don't like my walking pace, stop hitching a ride on my shoulder. I'll stop riding on your shoulder if you'll shut up for 5 minutes. Tired, lost, and cranky, Tix and I are clearly not in the best moods right now. What we thought would be an overnight stroll to her village has already turned into a tiresome journey. I'm a scholar, not a hunter. The most physical activity I ever get is when I'm walking up and down the stairs at the academy. This journey takes much longer. I may very well collapse from exhaustion. Is your village really as close to the academy as you claimed? What? You think I was lying? I think you were looking for an excuse to brag. Something like, it takes a human all week to walk there, but we pixies can fly there overnight. I wouldn't do that. My village is close to the academy, I swear. Is it really? I'm starting to doubt that. Doubt me all you want. Just keep your legs moving, or we'll be out here all week. Yeah, I'm moving alright. At Tix's command, I force myself to continue walking. My pace has slowed down considerably since we first set out, but as long as I shuffle forward, I can at least claim to be making... That being said, it doesn't take long before my desires to quell Tix's anger is drowned out by the pain emitting from my legs. Hey Tix, are we at least getting close? I'm tired of walking. We still have a fair distance to cover. I think we should take this opportunity to rest. Another break, Sable? Good grief. Your complaints just never stop, do they? Fine, sit down and take a break. I'll go on ahead and look around. Sounds like a plan to me. Without a moment hesitation, I sit down on the grass and rest my back against a large tree. Feeling somewhat uncomfortable, I shift around a bit until I finally give up and just lay down on the ground instead. Much better. My feet are sore, my eyes are sore, one of my shoulders is killing me. I'm really not cut out for this kind of thing. Close my eyes and let out a long, lengthy sigh. All the fatigue I've accumulated so far today hits me the second I close my eyes. The blood rushes to my head and I feel my consciousness leaving my body. Oh, did I fall asleep? Crap, Tix is going to be so mad at me. How long was I out? Maybe she isn't back yet. If I'm lucky, she'll... God. Bunch of naked pixies. Still be out searching. My thoughts going to a halt as my eyes slowly open. I try to sit up only to find that I cannot move. My arms and legs have been immobilized. Looking down at my body, it seems as though I've been bound. But by what and by whom? This must be a dream. Ah, the human awakes. Quick, tighten the ropes. We can't have him breaking free. The blink in surprise as my eyes and ears both convey to me a bizarre scene. All around me are pixies, or at least I assume that they're all pixies, hovering around me in various states of undress. Unable to comprehend what's going on, I look around trying to make sense of my current predicament. Right foot secure, right hand to left side, left foot secure, left hand. There's something strange on the left wrist, but we worked around it. Torso, pinned down like a fairy on all fours. Nice. He's not that submissive, is he? Save the jokes for later, neck. Tight enough to work, loose enough that he can move around. Just like the one trying a button. Oh, you are the worst. Girls, please, we're not done yet. Crouch team, how are we going? No movement yet. Crouch team suggests employing visual stimulus. Alright, you heard him, girls. Time for stage 2. Synchronized fluttering of many sets of wings fills my ears as the majority of the pixies fly up to my face. Even though their goal is the same, they all stare at me while reacting to my gaze in different ways. Anxiety, excitement, joy, embarrassment, fear, lust. A dozen of different sentiments are directed my way as those tiny ladies look upon their prey. Hey human, can you hear us? Feast your eyes on this. At the words of their apparent leader, the pixies who are actually wearing clothes begin to strip. Those who are already naked assume a variety of poses. Dozens of beautiful yet tiny bodies fill my vision. No matter where I look, another pixie is making crude gestures or posing provocatively. This is the kind of sight any young man would enjoy, surrounded by beautiful women, naked and posing happily, all of whom want only one thing. Unfortunately for them, the sheer absurdity of my current situation is making it difficult for me to feel anything other than confusion and disbelief. Crouch team, how's it going down there? Are we good to go? Negative, still no reaction. Ugh, all of this and we still haven't gotten a rise out of him. Crouch team suggests removing the subject's clothes and applying stimulus directly to the area of interest. I suppose we can't just rely on visual stimulation after all. Very well, ladies. Get back to your stations. It's time to strip the human. Whoa. Woo, that's what I'm talking about, finally. Let's get into the main event already. Thank goodness. I was dying of embarrassment posing like that. Flying away from my face once more, the pixies assume their previous positions scattered around my body. They each grab onto different parts of my clothing, apparently intent on stripping me naked. Alright, ladies. On the count of 3. 1, 2. Hold on a minute. Just before the command can be given, I finally speak up. What is it, human? Can't you see that we're busy here? Busy with my body? Let me go. I don't consent to any of this. What are you saying? You came to our forest, human. As long as you're here, you're playing by our rules. As far as we are concerned, any human who dares set foot in our forest is fair game. So be a good boy and get it up already. Would you? We'll let you go when we're done with you. Please stop it. This isn't why I came here. Then why did you come here, human? You should know that there's only one reason why humans ever come here. That may usually be true, but I get it. This is victim play. Oh no, the poor adventurer has been taken out by a horde of evil pixies, and now they're gonna have their way with him. He's acting reluctant, but he secretly wants it. Isn't that right, human? No, of course not. That isn't it at all. See, he's playing the part perfectly. Alright, ladies, where were we left off? 1, 2, hold it right there. Interrupted for a second time, the pixies reluctantly halt their advances. This time around, the one to cut it in is not their victim, rather it's a member of their own kind. And if it isn't Tix, I didn't realize you were coming back home so soon. Do you want to get in on this? You have to go last because you're welcome to join in. Yeah, right, you lot aren't laying a hand on him. Sable is mine. I brought him here myself. Seriously? Did you hear that? Little Tix, the virgin, brought man home. But why did she bring him here if she doesn't want to share? I bet she's just here to rub her body toy in our faces, her boy toy. If he's yours, then mark your property next time, you damn tease. Yeah, you know you can't leave fresh meat laying around like this. One after another, the pickies picked up their clothes and fly away. None of them bother to untie me, nor do they apologize or say anything further to Tix. They simply depart, leaving Tix and I on our own. Good grief, I take my eyes off you for 1 minute. Look at what happens. Hang on a second. Okay, I'll cut you loose. Tix flies from one part of my body to the next, using incendiary magic to burn through the material holding me in place. Limb by limb, I quickly regain control of my body. Before long, I am able to move around freely and even stand up. Thanks, Tix. I don't know what happened there. One minute I was resting, the next I was pinned to the ground. Sorry, I should have warned you about that. I thought it would be okay as long as we stuck together, but as a man in the middle of pixie territory, you can't be too careful. Is it that dangerous out here? I mean, those girls were making some pretty intense remarks, but are they really like that? Would they really strip me down and, Of course they would. Do they look like they were joking to you? No, not at all. If Tix hadn't returned when she did, who knows what those pixies would have done to me. Sable, let me explain something to you. You know how pixies leave their village in order to be impregnated, then return home afterwards? Well, on a rare occasion, we don't need to go anywhere. Instead, humans and other suitable mates come to us, yeah? I can see that happening. Go in the forest, you'll be assaulted by a dozen of hot young sex-crossed pixies. Sex-crazed pixies. It sounds like an advertisement for an adult website. But if people thought there was even a slim chance of such a statement being true, how many of them would give it a shot? So instead of pixies leaving their village in order to find their own breeding partners, they just use the one who conveniently shows up in their forest. Makes sense, but wow, to think that such a thing actually happens. Is this a common occurrence? Not really. Not around here, at least. It's kind of difficult for a rumor like that to spread. It is, I thought, that it would be the kind of thing that humans would happily share around. By which I mean guys would brag to their friends. Well, yeah, if our village were a bit small. But I don't think I've ever heard of a human coming here and making it out alive. Come again? Oh, but don't worry, you'll be fine. You're here with me. Nobody's gonna lay a hand on you. Don't know a story about a human coming here and coming out alive. Jesus, death by snoo. But you just said I was talking about humans who come here hoping for, well, what you almost went through. There are quite a lot of us around here, If we're talking about women in their prime who aren't already pregnant, there are usually at least a few thousand of us. Most humans who come here wind up dying of exhaustion. A few thousand? Oh man, maybe coming here wasn't such a good idea after all. Now relax. Like I said, you're with me. Unattached men are fair game, but if they're spoken for, then they're off limits. That's the rule. Due to the nature of the promise I made with Tix, that would father her children if my plan failed, Tix has more or less decided that until her mother backs down, I am hers and hers alone. In reality, that designation is primarily for the sake of my own protection. As Tix has just proven to me, there's a big difference between a human who is unattached and one who's already been claimed. The idea that I belong to Tix irks me slightly, but considering what just happened, I won't argue. Well, I guess there's no point complaining about it now. If there are that many pixies floating around, then that means we must be getting close to your village, right? Yep, I told you we were almost there. Come on, even at your speed, we should be there in under an hour. More walking, but I didn't even have time for a proper rest. Sigh, maybe I should just lay back down and let the pixies do what they want with me. As predicted, Tix and I arrive at our village within the hour. The closer we draw, the more Tix brethren we come across. Pixies fly by us every second, displaying the same frequency and disinterest as humans strolling down the sidewalk. Some pixies stop and stare, but none of them say anything with Tix riding on my shoulder. It's clear that I'm attached, and thus of no interest to them. Wow, there are so many of you around here. The forest was dead silent a short time ago. It's hard to believe that there were this many pixies hiding around the place. You weren't hiding, you were just too ignorant to notice them. Anyway, now that we're here, don't you think that you ought to... right. Just give me a second. Tix hops off my shoulders and starts flying in front of me as I focus on casting our new spell. Okay, Sable, you can do this. It'll be just like we practiced, except that there are hundreds of pixies flying around, watching every move that you make. I try to take my mind off our observers and think only of the spell I am casting. To that effect, I start by gathering aether in the air around me, enveloping my entire body in the rich, abundant resource which plumps through these woods. Once my body has become fully immersed, I draw the aether inward from all directions simultaneously, forcing it towards my core, even when it's already applying tremendous pressure on my body. As the aether compresses my body, I can feel my skin contract and hear my bones crack under my flesh. Pain Tongs pain assault my body. My breathing slows down, yet my heart rate increases. Everything hurts. Nothing is as it should be. I feel like I've been stuffed into a trash compactor and crushed until I'm the size of a marble. Moments before I can pass out from the pain, the pressure suddenly disappears. To my relief, casting a spell has been complete. Hey there, little guy. How do you feel? Horrible. I feel like I've had every bone in my body broken into tiny pieces. Oh, lighten up. It worked, didn't it? Look around. You're normal now. Normal for you, perhaps. Which is probably the point Tix was trying to make, but anyway. I look around at other pixies present, all of whom are staring at me in bewilderment. Before their eyes, a human being, clothes and all, shrunk down to the size of one of them. They're used to seeing the reverse, of course. A pixie growing to the size of a human is an everyday occurrence. But for a human to shrink down to their size right in front of them like this is surely a first. How about you? Are your clothes holding up okay? Yep, no problems at all. Man, you have no idea how glad that I can freely grow and shrink my clothes with the rest of my body. Why couldn't you have invented such a convenient spell sooner? I didn't invent anything. We did. Make sure you drill that point into your mother's brain, okay? Got it. Inspired by Tick's own compliments in growing and shrinking, as well as what I read about pixie metamorphosis, I decided the plan of how Tix could change her mother's mind. Step 1 was to create a spell which allows other living beings, inanimate objects, and so on to shrink down to the size of a pixie. Step 2 is, right, which way is your house? It's time we paid your mother a visit. That's a good question. Where was she staying at? You don't know where your own mother lives? Even I'm not that bad, Tix. Pixies move around a lot, okay? It gets hard to keep track sometimes. Pixies are a oh my god. I don't remember reading anything like that. We don't migrate, we just change houses a lot. Our families grow and shrink all the time, so we tend to swap with other families depending on our needs. That actually is a pretty sensible idea. But what if someone doesn't want to swap? What do you do then? Personally, I'd probably become human-sized, build a new house, then return to normal and move into the house I just built. As far as I know, swapping houses hasn't ever been a problem for us. We don't use all of the complicated gadgets that humans do, and we don't store much inside of our homes, so it doesn't take much effort to change houses or to build a new one. As I look around the village, I can see for myself exactly what Tix is talking about. The pixies' houses are mostly integrated into their natural surroundings. Trees, rocks, and mushrooms have been carved into, in some cases, even hollowed out. Sticks, leaves, and bushes have been shuffled around and arranged meticulously, thus being transformed into primitive huts. Few of their homes are outfitted with doors, windows, and other things one would expect from a human being's house, but for the most part, their living situation appears to be quite basic. Wow, this really is something. I think it's amazing that you'd be able to live like this. What is that supposed to mean? Are you making fun of me? Not at all. When humans start to live somewhere new, we begin to immediately clear out the native plants and animals. We sometimes manage to preserve a fraction of what was originally there, but for the most part, everything that gets in our way winds up perishing. With that in mind, I think it's amazing that you guys have found a way to coexist with your surroundings like this. Everything that was here before you moved in has been put to use, you haven't wasted a thing. It's not that amazing, we're just doing what's easiest. We're small enough that we can live inside of the native plant life, so that what we do, it'd be too much work to make complicated houses like humans do. Surprisingly, Tix doesn't take this opportunity to brag about how great pixies are, or to put humans down. Instead, she downplays the ingenuity of her own species and acknowledges the difference between what our species create. Considering the way Tix usually acts, I find this unusual. That being said, what can you see here is just the beginning. We have homes in the treetops as well. We've hollowed out all kinds of big rocks scattered around the forest too. If you notice one of us, there are bound to be hundreds more that you can't see. Just like cockroaches. Suppressing that response with all my might, I return our conversation to its original track. So, going back to your mother, if you don't remember which house is hers, how do you propose we locate her? I could try contacting her with my terminal if you'd like, though I don't know if she'd accept an unsolicited call. I think she would. If Mom was contacted by an unknown terminal ID, she'd probably think it was me using one of the Academy's devices. It's not how physical terminals works, Tix. They're just tools, remember? The idea of a person casting the spell wouldn't change. Then again, your mother might be aware of that. So maybe it doesn't matter. Should I try it out anyway? Nah, don't do that. I want to sneak up on her and give her a scare. It's a bit late for that, dear. Mom. Tix and I turn around to find her mother, the very person we were looking for, standing right behind us. Oh, Mom, I didn't see you there. What a pleasant surprise. What are you doing here? And how did you get here so quickly? Did you know that we were coming? I started heading over as soon as I heard the boy's footsteps booming throughout the village. The footsteps of a human are not something we'd overlook, you know. She heard me coming, huh? I guess that's to be expected, considering our unusual difference in size. So why have you come here? I'd ask if you brought him here as a peace offering, but that isn't it, I assume. Of course not. I have no reason to offer you anything, and even if I did, I wouldn't give you that kind of present to my own mother. And why are you here? Isn't it obvious? Sable and I are here to prove you wrong once and for all. Oh, how interesting. I was wondering why you returned months before the deadline I gave you. So what are you proving to me exactly? In what manner was I wrong? Without a hint of sarcasm or insincerity in her voice, Tix's mother poses a legitimate question. For all of the time and effort Tix and I have put into coming up with a way to prove the value of her education, it seems her mother hasn't given the matter a second thought. Sable and I are going to prove to you that you were wrong to undermine my education. I've been learning important things at the academy, and now I'm here to show you that my hard work has paid off. Undermine your education? What are you talking about? No, you know what? I don't need to know. You've saved me the trouble of dragging you back home myself. For that, I ought to be thankful. You're that confident, are you? Well, see how long that lasts. When I show you what I've been cooking up, you'll beg me to stay at the academy. I sincerely doubt that. So, what is it that you want to show me? More magic? Designed to be used in combat, perhaps? If so, you might as well give up on appealing to me right now. All that you need to do is stay in the village and birth healthy children. Learning new spells won't help you to do that, and that is where you are wrong. Oh? Tix's mother stares at us skeptically. She may not value the pursuit of knowledge like we do, but that doesn't mean she isn't interested in hearing about how someone else's findings might benefit her. Mom, I know you think that learning new things is a waste of time, but I'm here to tell you that it's not. The proof of this is standing right beside me. Tix gestured towards me, at which point her mother glances at me for only a second before returning her gaze to her daughter. What about him? Don't you see, Sable is our size now. He's a human, but he's the same size as a pixie. So what? Don't you understand what this means? If we cannot only make ourselves bigger, but also make other beings smaller, we'll have increased the number of races we can breed with many times over. Also, we'll be able to shrink one human instead of having many size. That'll make it so pixies, who have a trouble increasing their size, will still be able to breed. We can reduce predators to our size and fight them at our natural size instead of theirs, giving us the advantage. We could even use this spell to make ourselves and our children smaller still. That way we could hide from predators by becoming too small for them to notice us. Mom, this spell could already bring us so many benefits, and that's just the first spell I've made. Imagine what I could come up with after studying for another 2 years. So you see, my time is much better spent continuing my studies than finding a mate further down the track. Don't you agree? Tix hurriedly presents the numerous applications of our new spell, all at once in an attempt to overwhelm her mother. Rather than display a look of amazement in response to her daughter's vision of the future, however, Tix's mother simply stares at her intently. You've given this quite a lot of thought, haven't you? Yeah, I have. And you own this new spell of yours to the environment of the academy? I do, yes. How so? How? In response to the wonderful picture Tix has painted, her mother does not deny the fruits of her labor. She does not belittle her daughter's accomplishment, nor does she question whether such applications will indeed prove benefactory. Instead, she poses a simple question. How did studying at the academy lead to the creation of this spell? Which aspect of your education there allowed you to come up with such a spell? Well, it's because of the teachers and the resources and stuff like that. So you couldn't come up with a spell like that if you were at home with your family? No, I couldn't. Why not? I can use Terminal, and I can teach it to you myself. With that, you'd be able to access the majority of the library. Would that not enable you to continue your studies here instead? I don't know, maybe. But if I did that, I'd be on my own. Anything new I learned would be from a book. I couldn't ask anyone for help if I got stuck. Stop, here we go. You believe that the staff at that academy can help you when you need it? You returned home before, wanting to leave the academy altogether. You told me that the teachers were all incompetent. I was just frustrated. I hadn't given them a fair chance, and I wasn't used to change. I was being impatient, that's all. So you want to study, but not here. You want to have children, but not yet. You want to learn, but not from me. You aren't making this easy, dear. I'm trying to meet you halfway, but you haven't given me much to work with. Why can't you stay here? What is so fascinating about that academy? What do you have there which you do not have here? As I listened to the questions being posed, Tick's mother, my eyes began to widen in surprise. While those two are arguing back and forth, I listened to them and keeping silent as I watched from the sidelines in an attempt to hear them both out as an impartial observer. After listening carefully to all the arguments put forth by Tick's mother, surprisingly I find myself making sense of our last conversation. So this is what she meant about Tix, and I not understanding her concerns. She's been telling Tix to leave the academy and come home, but not for the reason we both assumed. We've been wrong about this woman's motives all along. Her words at the academy were harsh. She made it quite clear that she wanted Tix to become pregnant and return home as soon as possible, regardless of her daughter's will. Hearing her line of questioning right now, and remembering our last conversation, I finally understand the reason why. Given how much importance pixies place on breeding, I assume that Tix's mother wanted her to help increase their numbers, to live a life considered normal for a pixie. But what if that isn't what she wants most? What if Tix's mother desired something else from her daughter? Return home, huh? So that's it. Huh? What's that, Sable? Don't interrupt, human. My daughter and I are talking here. Technically, yes, but I hardly call this a conversation, constructive conversation. Honestly, the Shah nailed it from the beginning. You two actually communicate better through arguing than you do by talking. What are you going on about, Sable? Ignore the human. We were talking about why you insist on staying at that academy. In the beginning, I was prepared to let you stay there for 2 years, but no sooner had you begun to attend the academy than you swiftly threw my kindness back in my face. You begged me to let you return home. You constantly badmouthed your teachers in the academy, making it sound as if I'd sent you somewhere horrible. And yet, days later, you underwent a complete change of heart. Suddenly, you wanted to stay there after all. You were learning so much, in spite of what you said before. That's because I'm not finished. Yes, you changed your mind. You'd only just enrolled there. It's understandable that you need time to adjust. I fully appreciate that. But what I don't appreciate is having my daughter lie to me. I didn't lie. You allowed me to believe that you found a mate and used that to direct from your sudden change of heart regarding your education. What's more, when the truth came out, you turned around and claimed that you wouldn't be coming home or having children for years to come. If that doesn't count as lying, then what does? In the face of her mother's rebuttal, Tix goes silent. Tix knows that her mother is right. She has been making emotional pleas and rash decisions since the moment she came to the academy. Now that her mother has called her out on her actions until now, there's little left to be said in Tix's defense. Your presence here today is further proof of your insolence. I give you a second chance by allowing you to remain at that academy for a full semester. How do you return my generosity here unannounced in an attempt to accost me? Honestly, how am I supposed to trust you to stay on the right path all on your own for 2 years if you continue to pull stunts like this? Clearly, you do not possess the presence of mind required to make the most of your enrollment at the academy. For the sake of your future, you would do much better to stay here and start a family just like the rest of your sisters. Tix's mother continues to berate her daughter, putting forth arguments which are honestly quite reasonable. Tix has indeed changed her mind about the academy a few times now. She's been impulsive, acted irrationally, and allowed her emotions to influence her actions to a frightening degree. Furthermore, we can't deny that we've deceived her mother in the past, and indeed showing up here unannounced to take her by surprise could hardly be considered an honest approach. One after another, arguments supporting her mother's view continue to pile up. Even so, you've made some good points, I'll give you that. Tix has made quite a few mistakes in dealing with you, so have I, now that I think about it. But you aren't exactly doing yourself any favors by beating around the bush like this. Be quiet, human. This is between my daughter and I. Oh, I'd be happy to butt out, but first, how about you tell Tix what's really gotten you so worked up? This isn't about her lying to you or having second thoughts about her education. It's about the two of you failing to express yourselves clearly. I thought I could endure 2 years without you, but when you returned in tears, heartbroken and disillusioned, I lost my resolve and realized that I desperately wanted you to come back. Your real problem is something along those lines, right? Heartbroken and tears. What are you talking about? I wasn't crying. Who lost their resolve? You don't know what you're talking about. No? Then why is it that you changed your mind so quickly? You were willing to give Tix 2 full years, but after she came back, you suddenly commanded her to return home for good without delay. Isn't it because you realized you didn't want to be separated from your daughter any longer? Not that simple, isn't it? You were just asking Tix what's so special about the academy and why she needed to study there instead of at home. Isn't that because you want her to stay here with you instead? Mom, is that what he's saying true? Is that why you've been trying so hard to make me come home? Don't be absurd. I just want you to fulfill your duty to our people, that's all. Is that right? Having your daughter birth many children is your primary concern, is it? In that case, perhaps you'd like to hear Tix's plan next. My daughter's plan? You want Tix to start raising children as soon as possible, right? In that case, couldn't you just give birth at the academy and raise her children there? What are you talking about? That is ridiculous. You can't do that. Why not? The academy is safe, the aether is pure, there are no predators prowling around, there's shelter, plenty of food and water. That may be so, but that's is no place to raise children. They should live here with their own kind. Oh, for crying out loud, just come clean already, would you? Nobody's going to think any less of you. You miss your daughter, and you want her to come home. That's what this is all about. Sable's right, isn't he? I thought it was weird you're being so obsessed, but I was so mad at you that I didn't really think about it any more deeply. Are you telling me that you've just been lonely this whole time? I was just worried about you. When you told me how you wanted to learn more about magic, I pushed you to go to that academy. Weeks later, you were already telling me how awful of a place it was and how badly you wanted to come home. I didn't want you to be miserable because of my decision. If that academy was making you unhappy, then I thought that you ought to return home instead. If you can stay here with your family and study magic in a place where you feel comfortable, wouldn't that be for the best? Mom, is that why you've been trying so hard to get me to come back home? You just wanted me to be happy? Isn't that what all mothers want for their children? Mom, you selfish old hag. You that desperate for attention? Huh? Selfish? But I was just trying to... Shut up. Don't you dare try to make yourself out to be the good guy here. You weren't doing this for me, you liar. You just can't stand the thought of me being fine without you. You're such a demurring, overbearing... I can't believe you. Surprised by Tix's outburst, her mother and I both take a step back. Honey, please calm down. I really do just want what's best for you. Shut up. I don't care, stupid hag. Why couldn't you just tell me that in the first place? Why didn't you at least give me a chance? I gave you plenty of chances, and every time that I did, you let me down. Take the fact that you're here today, for instance. I caved in and gave you a full semester to change my mind, to prove to me that you were really prepared to stay there and study diligently, like you claimed that you would. And yet, instead of using that opportunity to attend class, make the most of your remaining time at the academy, you used it to plot against me. If you can't even spend such a short period of time studying properly, why should I believe that you are capable of spending a full 2 years doing so? It's not like I've been neglecting my studies since then. I've been learning from the teachers at the academy properly, I swear. Have you now? Fine, let's say for a moment that I choose to believe you. Even then, that still leaves the matter of your dishonesty. In particular, your failure to mention that the real reason why you want to stay at that academy, huh? The real reason. What are you talking about? I told you all about why I want to stay and why I changed my mind. Perhaps so, but you omitted the most important reason. Tix's mother glances at me out of the corner of her eye. Rather than her unusual pretty smirk, what appears on her face as she looks at me this time around is a spiteful scowl. cardinal sin indeed. I never thought my own daughter would make such a fundamental mistake for a pixie. It was amusing at first, but now, finally releasing me from her icy glare, Tick's mother breathes a loud sigh. Honey, I don't want you to keep fighting with you like this. Truthfully, I don't want you to come home. Truthfully, I do want you to come home, but not if I have to talk you back against your will. I know that there are things which I cannot teach you, and if having you leave home is the best way for you to pursue such interest of yours, then I am willing to accept that. But, dear, please at least be honest with me. If you want to choose that place, that human, over your own family, then at least have the decency to tell me that to my face. Mom, what are you saying? This isn't about me choosing someone or somewhere else over you and our home. Look, I'm happy that you miss me, really I am. I feel the same way about you too. I do miss living here, and once I finish my education at the academy, I'll return home without fail. But for now, I have my own goals that I want to pursue. There are things I want to do with my life which I can't do while I'm staying here with you. So no matter how painful it is for you, and for me, I'm going to remain at the academy for the next 2 years. Very well, if you feel that strongly about it, I will give you one last chance. 2 years, as originally planned. You will? Just like that? But I thought that that I wanted to drag you back home, force you to give up on your dreams, and make you start birthing children without delay? Well, yeah, kinda. So you really do think that I'm that kind of person? Not that I can blame you looking back now. I suppose I didn't handle this matter as well as I could have. That's behind us now, and I won't make the same mistake a second time. Sweetie, go back to the academy. Make the most of your time there, learn whatever you find interesting, and most importantly, be sure to actually enjoy yourself. I don't want to hear you begging to come home, nor do I wish to endure any more hour-long venting sessions about your teachers. No more lies, no more rash decisions. This is your last chance, honey. I mean it this time. If you change your mind again, I won't, I promise. I'll stay the full 2 years and learn as much as I can. I'll do so well in my studies that you won't believe I'm the same person I used to be. Then it's a deal. Once again, I look forward to watching over your progress. Smiling warily at the odd yet heartwarming scene unfolding in front of my eyes, I feel as though the conflict between Tix and her mother has finally come to an end. They're really finished arguing this time, haven't they? There were a couple of points there when I thought they'd stop, only for one of them to start yelling again, but this time they really have made up right. No thanks to me. As Tix and her mother continued to vent, I gradually began to realize that my attempts to help Tix had only made matters worse. If it weren't for my involvement, much of this drama could have likely been avoided, and things may have not gotten so out of hand. Fortunately, these two have shown that my meddling was not enough to fracture their relationship beyond repair. The deceit and miscommunication from both sides has now broken down, allowing Tix and her mother to speak their minds freely without hiding their true feelings. It isn't the way I saw this trip of ours ending, but considering the joyful expressions on their faces right now, I can't complain. Now that those two have made amends, does this mean I finally get a chance to rest? If this starts talking about the academy curriculum seriously and begins to study courses, material instead of spell creation, that should take some of the load off. There's also the matter of us canceling morning and lunchtime training. Once I finally break that news to her, I'll almost be a free man. It's not the best attitude for an instructor to take, I know, but I must admit I'm looking forward to taking some time off. Feeling optimistic about the future, I leave the hopefully happily chatting mother and daughter pair to make up on their own pace. While they're getting a little too close for comfort, I turn around and start to take my leave. Hey, wait, Sable, where are you going? You came all the way to my village. We have to at least stay overnight. Yes, that's right. You can't leave yet, man. You tried to turn my daughter against me. Come, stay anyway. We'll make sure you're comfortable. So comfortable, in fact, that you'll never want to leave. No, that's okay. I'm just gonna rest a short walk away from here. See, my bones are really starting to hurt. If I don't return to my normal size soon, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Oh, you'll be fine. You're surrounded by experts at healing magic. We won't let anything happen to you. And if something does happen, I'm sure some of the residents here would love to nurse you back to health. No, I've already found out firsthand what the pixies of this village want with me. I think I'd take my chances somewhere a little safer. like a dragon's den or a pit filled with magical beasts. You guys go ahead, I'll catch up with you a bit later. Suit yourself. Come on, Mom, let's go inside. Which one of these is your house again? Silly girl, you've forgotten already. Come on, I'll show you to your home. My home? We just went through this. We'll see. Separate from the lively duo once more, I quickly make my exit. I head away from the village, intending to return to my normal size before the spell can forcibly come undone. There are no pixies hiding nearby, are there? I wouldn't want to accidentally crush one of them. After taking a quick look around, I begin to undo the spell. Just like before, my bones shift around worryingly, and my body contorts in all kinds of unpleasant and painful ways. Still, it isn't as bad as shrinking. Compared to that, returning to my normal size is far less painful, and above all, it just feels right. Before long, I've returned to my regular size, clothes and all, and taken a seat on the base of a large tree. Oh man, that was... How does Tix do this every day? I allow fatigue to get the best of me as I utter the rhetorical question. Maintaining a size so starkly different than my regular form puts a great strain on my body. Unlike most spells, which a person might describe as exhausting, it doesn't consume a great amount of aether. Instead, the toll it takes on me is purely physical. Rather than liken my current state to that of a mage who has been casting spells after spell, it'd be more fitting to compare me to a first-time marathon runner. I could probably come up with a few ways to improve that spell, but frankly, I don't see myself using it again anytime soon. Besides, I already decided to let Tix take credit for that one. We both worked on it anyway, and it means a lot more to her than it does to me. I have my own spells to work on, ones which don't involve using myself as a guinea pig. I lay down on the ground as my fatigue begins to consume me. My eyes slowly begin to close, and No, I can't do that again. If I fall asleep here, history is going to repeat itself. So you learn from your mistakes after all, do you? I suppose even humans are capable of that much. Huh? I turn my head from side to side as I search for the person who just spoke to me. Before long, my eyes land on a figure of someone from whom I only just parted a short time ago. Tix's mother? Would you stop calling me that already? I have a name, you know. Yeah, a name which you refused to tell me. I didn't think there was any point. Unfortunately, whether I like it or not, it seems that this won't be the last we'll be seeing one another. And if we're gonna keep meeting like this, then I'd rather not have you calling me Tix's mother all the time. My name is Perilla. I'll give you permission to address me by that name henceforth. Perilla, is it? Alright then, Perilla, to what do I owe this encounter? Weren't you supposed to be chatting with your daughter? I told her to wait at home while I took care of something. So you wanted to speak to me about something without Tix present? Well, you got me. What's up? Gonna tell me once again to impregnate your daughter or to convince her to return home? No, as much as I would like that to happen, I won't continue that drum endlessly. If my daughter wishes to stay so badly, then I won't try and force her to return. In the first place, I sent her to that academy for the sake of advancing her studies. As long as she takes her education there seriously, I have no problem with her remaining there. That's good to hear, but in that case, what is it that you want from me? But simply the truth. Truth about what? Many things, but for starters, that spell you used. My daughter didn't come up with it, did she? What makes you say that? Answer the question, human. Did my daughter create that spell or didn't she? Kind of. We worked on it together. It wasn't mine or hers alone. I knew it, so you're the one who created that spell. No, weren't you just listening? I said, do not attempt to deceive me, human. I know what my daughter is and is not capable of. She may have helped, but she's not the spell's creator. Quickly growing fed up with Phyllis' instruction, I try to keep my cool. Does it matter who created the initial spell? I could not have made the spell as quickly or easily without your daughter's help. Her input was valuable to me, but she was not the one who came up with the idea, was she? No, she wasn't. So I was right after all. And when she said that she couldn't study at home because she wouldn't be able to get help she needed, she wasn't talking about the teachers at the academy, was she? She was talking about you. How would I know? You should be asking her that question. Even if I did, she wouldn't answer me honestly. Like mother, like daughter. Don't sass me, boy. Look, I'll admit that I should have been more honest with my daughter. If I had, we could have avoided some rather unnecessary conversations. But that is not what I came out here to talk to you about. If Tix is gonna stay at the academy because of you, then you need to do right by her. Have I not done right by her until now? I'm saying that you need to keep doing so. You're going to continue to support my daughter for a long time to come, you hear me? You'll teach her all kinds of things so that the next time she pulls a stunt like this, the spell she shows off really will be her own work. And if you don't, Phil cracks her knuckles while glaring at me, clearly trying to intimidate me. Unfortunately for Prilil, her intimidation falls flat. At her current size, she simply doesn't exude that kind of presence. What's with that expression? Do you think I'm joking? No, it's not that. Sorry, it's just when you're that small, it's kind of difficult to take your threats seriously. Is that right? In that case, cracks her fingers. He's all yours, girl. Huh? All whose? What are you? No, not this again. Hara, howdy. Looks like we haven't seen the last of each other after all. Yeah, it must be fate for us to come together twice in one day like this. You wanted a piece of me that badly, huh? Well, shucks. I guess I have no choice. Hey, Pearl, are you sure this is okay? He belongs to your daughter, right? It's fine. You can't mate with him, but you can do anything short of that. Oh, that's true, huh? What are you talking about? Take it, Tix and I are silly boy. You don't know anything about our customs, do you? You've already been claimed by my daughter, but that just means nobody else is allowed to mate with you. There are plenty of other ways they can use you, you know? No, that can't be. I thought you guys only did this stuff for the sake of getting pregnant. Oh, grow up. That may be our goal, but it doesn't mean that we don't enjoy the ride. That's right, we can't mate with you. We'll still have our plaything. Oh, look at those big eyes. I think I'm in love. Get a load of this human. Do you like what you see? I bet you want a piece of me, huh? Well, too bad. Don't tease the poor thing. Here, I'll give you a kiss on the cheek, okay? So cheer up. You wuss. That's not the place where I'd... Oh, wow, you really did kiss him. I didn't think you were gonna go through with it. Huh? Kissing is okay. Wait, where did you draw the line? As long as you don't have sex, anything is fine? Is that how it works? Wait, what if we take his seed without going that far? Is that still okay? Hey, are you redefining sex exactly? Does it still count if we stop halfway through? Just listen to you. Like you have that kind of self-control. This is a joke, right? You're gonna let me go, aren't you? Response to my word, Phil smirks and turns around. Without taking another peek in my direction, she begins to fly back towards her village. Have fun, human. My daughter and I are going to be having a long conversation, so you better make yourself comfortable. Bye-bye. Phil flies off, leaving me at the mercy of her fellow pixies. Just like earlier, I am surrounded on all sides. Nyx's pixies swarm me, leeching onto my body, or making lewd gestures as they taunt me in midair, looking at my mischievous expression on their faces. I can't help but gulp. Hey, you do remember that I'm Tix, right? Oh, we know. Then you won't cross that line? Pixies look at one another quizzically, as if trying to come to a consensus. What do you think? Well, Propel said anything except for sex is okay, so what are we actually going to listen to her? The rule is that we can't mate with someone else's property. As long as we don't get pregnant, we should be allowed to do anything. Ooh, I like the interpretation of the rules. Okay, let's go with that. Well, there you have it, human. Looks like you'll be spared from fatherhood. Really? Can't we take the rule a bit differently? Oh, I know. What if mate means sex leading to pregnancy? Or in other words, we can have sex and get pregnant, but not at the same time. Yes, that. Let's go with that. You're all horrible. You're clearly just changing the rules as you see fit. So what? Yeah, I mean, rules are made to be broken anyway, right? Enough talk. Let's strip the human. Yeah, strip the human, strip the human. Tix, for anyone. Please, I don't want my first time to be like this. Raped by pixies. Ending 16 of 19. Okay, that's the end of Tix's route. Thanks for watching. If there is another ending for Tix, we'll do it later. I don't know if there is. I know there's a lot of endings, so I have no idea if it's only 2 endings per whatever characters have endings or what. So